What did Floridians know about the Holocaust as the horror was unfolding?
That was the subject of an event last week in North Miami Beach, and I was invited to moderate the discussion, which was organized by the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum. Here is some of that talk.
That shocked and horrified Americans to see these types of images in their newspapers.
Shedding light on one of history's darkest moments. Newspaper and magazine articles from the 1930s and 40s documenting the rise of Hitler and the systematic killings of so many millions. What did Floridians know? That was the topic of a recent discussion in North Miami Beach, sponsored by the U.S. Holocaust Memorial and Museum. I moderated the talk, which featured two Florida historians and a museum educator. All agreed that Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass in 1938, really opened Americans' eyes to the brutality of Hitler's Nazi regime. Europe's Jews stripped of their businesses and property, synagogues burned to the ground.
Even though Americans had had information to that point, this really crystallized for them, and they were completely shocked and horrified by what they saw the Nazis committing.
We talked about the MS St. Louis, the cruise ship filled with European Jewish refugees turned away from Port Miami in 1939 and sent back to Europe, where so many of them were killed.
We wanted nothing to do with the European war, although this preceded the war. And secondly, it didn't change immigration policy at all. There was no great demand. We have to open the gates for refugee Jews or other European immigrants.
And we talked about how Jews already in the U.S. began to move south in the late 30s and 40s, and how that led to more awareness and activism.
What really accelerated our awareness of what was going on over there was the growth of the Jewish population here, and they became much more vocal.
Miami Beach would become a hub, and by 1940, 1/4 of its total population Jewish. One of them, Mitchell Wolfson, the Miami Beach mayor, who would resign from office to enlist in the war. The Miami Daily News was reporting that Nazis had killed more than 1.7 million Jews. Of course, they would go on to kill a total of 6 million, along with millions more who didn't fit into Hitler's final solution. Accurately reporting history in real time, vital then as now.
And this is the 25th year of the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. CBS 4 will be covering a series of local events aimed at furthering the museum's mission of confronting hatred, preventing genocide, and promoting human dignity.
And you just think about that ship, for example, with all those people making that journey and then getting turned away after that. It's just heart-wrenching.
It is, but it is also important to realize the importance of the press, because it was because of all those newspaper articles here in South Florida and around the country that people in the United States began to understand what was happening in Germany and why the United States needed to intervene.
Yeah, good story. All right.